For centuries, we Earthlings have dreamed of learning about cultures and civilizations from other planets. Ever since astronomers discovered that the light phenomena in the sky are stars and planets, speculation arose. In recent years, thanks to modern technology, astronomers have been able to go searching in other solar systems. This video showcases 10 planets on which there could be life, according to NASA. Want to learn more? Center for Nuclear Research, or CERN, have reignited their cosmic cannon, the Large Hadron Collider. A revolution is about to break out by dint of this. The big game of understanding the nature of the cosmos has therefore begun, in light of recent developments in the revived goals of particle physicists. Even before it underwent refurbishment, the collider has been producing evidence that the cosmos could be hiding something remarkable. What is the universe's starting point? As opposed to matter, why does it include antimatter? Join us as we examine the amazing finding that CERN researchers just discovered that alters everything. The most basic question.
I want to start off by giving our praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadesh. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone and Thomas is true. Alright. Getting into what CERN has been talking about with this black matter, which is what they call outer space, which they trying to say it's a matter that they can't tell what it is or whatever. And just want to go into that and possibly hit around, that deal about this Big Bang Theory. Alright. Now, this is John chapter 14, and I'm going to start at verse 2. In my Father's house there are many dwelling places. If it was not so, I would have told you that I go to prepare a place for you. Right? So there are many mansions, and is what it said, many dwelling places. This version, because I'm reading the NRST version of the Bible. All right. New Oxford. So many mansions, and it says in the King James, but in this version it says dwelling places. So it lets you know many dwelling places. So this is getting into other planets, other places in the universe that you will be able to travel to. Alright, many mansions. Now, want to go over and talk about, getting into what they consider black matter. Alright, and I'm going to start it off in Genesis. And I'm just going to start at the top, verse 1, Genesis. In the beginning, when the powers created the heavens and the earth. And I'm saying powers because we know Yahweh Shai along with 144,000 created everything. The earth was a formless void, and darkness covered the face of the deep. With a wind from Yahweh swept over the face of the water. Then power said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And the power saw that the light was good, and the power separated the light from the darkness. And the powers called the light day, and the darkness he called night. Alright, so as you see, that's going into creating the sun and the moon, separating the light from the darkness and the darkness. And there was even, and there was morning in the first day. So the first day, and we know a day to the Lord is 1,000 years. So in the first day, the moon and the sun was created. Alright? Alright? And Yahweh said, "Let there be a dome in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters." And this dome is saying in this version, we know it's the firmament. In the King James version, which is what separates the waters from the waters. And what that's going to is what separates outer space from the earth. Alright? So what they're calling black matter is actually water. All right. So the firmament separates the water that is out in outer space from the water that is in Earth. All right. So Earth is like sitting in like this. The Earth in the firmament like sits in this giant, and what you say, container of water, because space is water. So the powers made the dome and separated the waters that were under the dome from the waters that were above the dome, and it was so. Alright? So the firmament separated everything. And the powers called the dome the sky, and there was even and there was morning in the second day. Alright, this version say calls it the sky, but we know it was the heavens, is what they called it in King James. And the power said, let the waters under the sky be gathered together into one place, and let dry land appear. And it was so. And the powers called the dry land earth, and the water that was gathered together he called the sea. And power saw that it was good. Alright? And then the power said, let the earth bring forth vegetation, plants, yielding seeds, and fruit trees of every kind on earth that bears fruit with the seed in it. And it was so. And the earth brought forth vegetation, plants, yielding seed of every kind, and the tree of every kind, bearing fruit with the seed in it. And the power saw that it was good, and there was even, and there was morning the third day. So on the third day, the Lord separated the earth from the sea, that created the earth from the sea by binding the water together that was up under the firmament. All right, so this is letting you know that everything, comes wrapped in this water. All right, so it comes wrapped in this water. So the earth sits in the water, and just to get an idea, this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7. I also am a mortal man, like everyone else, a descendant from the first formed child of earth. And in the womb of a mother, I was molded into flesh. All right, so the space is kind of like the womb of a mother, right, and the earth sits in it. In this period of 10 days, compacted with blood from the seed of man in the pleasure of marriage. And when I was born, I began to breathe the common air and fell upon the human earth. And my first sounds was a cry as the crow of owl. I was nursed with care in swaddling clothes, for no king has a different beginning of existence. For there is only one entrance into life and one way out. Right? So pretty much, he was stuck. Every person that come on this earth is started in their mother's womb. Right? And the earth space is kind of like their mother's womb for the earth. Right? And yeah, it's like their mother's womb for the earth. All right. Now I'm gonna get Exodus, the 19th chapter, and I'm gonna start at the 16th verse. On the morning of the third day, there was thunder and lightning, as well as a thick cloud on the mountain, and a blast of a trumpet, so loud that all the people were in the camp trembling. All right, so this was when Yahweh came down on top of the mountain. And Moses brought the people out of the camp to meet Yahweh. They took their stance at the foot of the mountain. Now Mount Seir was wrapped in smoke because the Lord had descended upon it, and in fire, and the smoke went up like the smoke of a kindle, while the whole mountain shook violently. So they say the Lord, when this was on there, the whole mountain was shaking. And as the blast of the trumpet grew louder and louder, Moses would speak and Yahweh would answer him in thunder. So the Lord's voice was answering in thunder. When the Lord descended unto the mountain to Mount Seir to the top of the mountain, the Lord summoned Moses to the top of the mountain, and Moses went up. Then the Lord said to Moses, Go down and warn the people not to break through to the Lord to look, otherwise many of them will perish. So letting them know that if they was to look upon the Lord, a lot of them were going to die. Yeah, even the priests who approach the Lord must, and just gonna skip down a little bit. So the Lord said He spoke that many of them will perish. All right. Now this is Exodus the 20th chapter, 18th verse. All right. When all the people witnessed the thunder and the lightning and the sound of the trumpet and the mountain smoking, they were afraid and trembled and stood at a distance. Because the Lord voice was so powerful that the people were afraid and said unto Moses, You speak to us and we will listen, but do not let Yahweh speak to us or we'll die. So his voice was so powerful, the people thought they were going to die hearing the voice of Yahweh. So Moses said to the people, Do not be afraid, for Yahweh had came only to test you and to put the fear of him upon you so that you do not sin. Right? And that's one of the things we should remember. We are always to fear the Lord. Fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. But his voice was so powerful that the people felt like they were going to die, hearing the Lord's voice. All right. And the story, if you would have started at the beginning, the people asked for the Lord to speak to them. And when they got what they wanted, they realized it wasn't what they wanted. All right. And we know the Lord Yahweh is to be greatly feared. Greatly feared. All right. Because the Lord can do many wonderful acts and he can do many terrible acts. The Lord controls both good and evil, as the scriptures say. All right, now this is what I was going to get into. The Big Bang Theory is biblical. All right, this is St. John. I'm gonna start at the top. All right, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was power, and the Word was with power, and the Word was power. So in the beginning was the Word. All right. He was in the beginning with power. All things came into being through him, and without him, not one thing came into being. What has come into being in him was life, and the life was the light of all the people. The darkness shined in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. All right, so in the beginning was the Word. There was a man sent from Yahweh, whose name was John. He came to witness, to testify to the light, so that all might believe through him. He himself was not the light, but he came to testify to the light. The true light, which enlightens everyone, was coming unto the Word. He was in the Word, and the Word came into being through him. Yet the Word did not know him. He came to what was his own, his own people did not accept him. But to all who received him, who believed in his name, he gave power to become children of Yahweh. All right. And this is talking about Israelites who were born not of blood or the will of the flesh or of the will of man, but of Yahweh. All right. And the Word became flesh and lived among us, and we have seen his glory, and the glory of a Father's only Son, full of grace and truth. So the Lord spoke, and the first thing he spoke was the Word. So he spoke Yahushua into position and into existence, and that's what began the foundation of the world. That was your Big Bang. The Big Bang was the Lord's voice. All right. When the Lord spoke the word into existence, that was the Big Bang. All right. Now, this is Exodus, the 6th chapter, and I'm gonna start at the 53rd verse. All right. On the 6th day, You commanded the earth to bring forth before you cattle, wild animals, and creepy things. And this is including people. And over these you place Adam as ruler over all the works that you have made. From him we have all came, come, the people whom you have chosen. As this I have spoken before you, O Lord, because ye have said that it was for us that you created this world. As for the other nations, they have descended from Adam. You have said that they are nothing, that they are like spittle, and you have compared their abundance to a drop from a bucket. So this is letting you know that the earth and all its creations was created for Israel, was created for the Israelites. It wasn't created for the other nations, all right? And we know the reason for this. You go over to Ephesians, all right, chapter 1, and I'm going to start at verse 2. Grace to you and peace from Yahweh, our Father, and the Lord Yahweh Shah Amashiach. Blessed be the blessed be the blessed be the Yahweh and Father of our Lord Yahweh Shah Mashiach, who has blessed us in the Mashiach with every spirit blessing in the heavenly place. Alright, so he said blessed us with every spirit blessings in the heavenly place. Just as he chose us in a Mashiach before the foundation of the world to be holy and blameless before him in love. So the elect were chosen before the world was even made. All right. And like you said before, the world was made for Israel's sake. All right. Now, if we go over to Jude, let's see. All right, and I believe I'm starting at the 5th verse. Now I desire to remind you, though you are fully informed, that the Lord who once for all saved a people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroying those he did not believe. All right, so he saved the people out of the land of Egypt. Then he destroyed the ones who did not believe. All right, that was the first wilderness. All right, in the angels who did not keep their own position but left their proper dwellings, he has kept in eternal change in darkness for the judgment of the great day. And the angels that left their first positions were Israel, right? Because the sons of God, right? The sons of Adam, and this was the elect, right? And the chains are these human bodies. Right? And if you go over to Genesis, the 6th chapter, right? When people began to multiply on the face of the ground and the daughters were born to them, the sons of Yahweh saw that they were fair, and they took wives for themselves, all that they chose. Right? Then the Lord said, my spirit shall now abide in the mortals forever, for they are flesh, for their days should be 120 years. All right? So this was the Lord saying his spirit should not always abide in mortals forever. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went into the daughters of humans who born children to them. These were the heroes that were of old warriors of renown. So these angels they left their first sight going into the Israel, came into the earthly bodies and had children with the women. And this was Israel of the sons of God on earth. All right. And then we know that the Lord saw that the wickedness of humankind was great in the earth. All right, and we know eventually he destroyed them and brought civilization back through Noah. All right, now let's see, get back to and everything is about us trying to get back to the estate we had with the Lord before then. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 15, and I'm going to start at the top. But you, our power, are kind and true, patient, and rooting all things in mercy. For even if we sin, we are yours, knowing your power. So, Israel will always belong to the Lord and be the Lord's people, even if they sin. All right? But we will not sin because we know that you acknowledge us as yours. So the people come back to the truth will not be sinning against the Lord. All right? For to know you is completion and righteousness, and to know your power is the root of immortality. All right, so to know the Lord's power, coming back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, is the root to immortality. All right, this is what begins to change you into, that righteous seed, that righteous birth is coming back into this truth, studying the Bible, and working your way back into the Lord. All right, now this is First Corinthians, the 15th chapter, and I'm gonna start at verse 50. All right, what am I saying, brothers and sisters? Is this: flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Yahweh, neither does the perishable inherit the imperishable. All right, so the mortal cannot inherit immortality. Listen, I will tell you a mystery. We will not all die, but we will all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet, for the trumpet will sound, and the dead will be rising incorruptible, and we will change, well, it rise imperishable, and we will be changed. For this perishable body must put on the imperishable, and this mortal body must put on immortality. All right. So this is letting you know that we're gonna get them new bodies, the immortality, and then the 144 that spiritual power. When this perishable body puts on imperishable, and the mortal put on immortality, then then the saying that is written will be fulfilled. Death has been swallowed up in victory. Where, O death, is your victory? Where, O death, is your sting? The sting of death is sin. So when you have new sinless flesh and you don't sin, you won't die. And the power of sin is the law. But thanks be to Yahweh who gives us victory through our Lord Yahweh Shah Amashiach. Alright, so pretty much we're gonna get this new sinless flesh, and that is what Israel is fighting to get back to, that immortal state. Alright, because I'm gonna end it with um Psalms 82, verse 6. I said, ye are gods, alright? Children of the Most High, all of you. Alright, I said, you are gods, children of the Most High, all of you. Alright, nevertheless, you should die like mortals and fall like any prince. Rise up, O power, judge the earth, for all the nations belong to you. All right, so it was saying we was gonna, die for going off, but in the end we was gonna rise up, for all the nations belong to Israel. All right, Israel is meant to be the kings and priests of the world. All right, and that's wanted to get in on it. The black matter, it's the water. All right, and if they was ever to burst through the firmament, all that water was flooding into the earth. Right, so so it was a good deal that the Lord made the firmament the way He did, so that Esau cannot get through. All right, and the Big Bang theory is biblical. All right, the bang was the voice of Yahweh. All right, when He spoke, it was a bang that created everything. All right, in the beginning was the Word. So the first word created Yahweh. He was the Word. All right. So, and with that, I'm going to say, Shalom.